Okay, Carla, if you would please take roll.
Mark Arnold.
Here.
Whitney Hall.
Here.
Cody Haney.
Here.
Marvin Kusick.
Here.
Eddie Mack.
Here.
David Mason.
Here.
Cole Green.
Here.
John Roberts. All right.
We have a quorum, so I hereby call the March Metropolitan Area Planning Commission meeting to order. The first item on the agenda is to consider approval of the minutes of the regular Metropolitan Area Planning Commission meeting of February the 26th, 2018.
I motion to approve.
Okay.
Second.
I have a motion and a second to approve the minutes. All those in favor, aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? And that motion is unanimous. Paragraph 3, number 1, is to hold a public hearing on an ordinance amending the Enid Municipal Code 2014, Title 11, Zoning, Chapter 3, Board of Adjustment, to amend Section 11.310, Appeals from the Board of Adjustment, to provide that no stay of the Board of Adjustment's decisions shall occur unless a stay is granted by the district court. And amending Chapter 13, sign regulations, to amend Section 11.13.9, review and appeal, to conform language with state law, providing for repealer, savings clause, severability, and codification.
Well, this is a ordinance, and it's a zoning ordinance, and for zoning ordinances to be passed, we need to have a public hearing before the Metropolitan Area Planning Commission and before the Mayor and Board of Commissioners. So this is the first of our public hearings. And basically, state law changed who decides the stay in front of the Board of Adjustment. It used to be the chairman of the Board of Adjustment, and now if an applicant or a respondent want to have a stay of the decision, they take it to the district court, and it's basically the preliminary injunction rules that the judge would find. But it's no longer the chairman. And there's really not a lot of choice in the matter. State law changed, and the Board of Adjustment is a state, a creature of state statute. So, and the other change is just to conform for signs, variances go to the Board of Adjustment, and the Board of Adjustment is also a creature of statute, and the findings that the Board of Adjustment have to make are specifically in state law, and they are found in a different part of the code. So that's why some of this was taken out. So there's not a lot of, it just conforms to state law, but it is the public's opportunity to talk and ask questions about the changes.
There's no one signed up to speak on this item, Mr. Chairman.
I did have one just curiosity question. In changing to reference the state law, which makes sense and simplifies things, 11.3.7b has a slight wording difference on Part C. Instead of just having the granting of the variance will not cause harm to the public or impair the purpose and intent of this chapter, it adds the word substantial. What would be the difference in that threshold?
Let's see. Under C, will not cause harm to the public or impair the purpose and intent of this chapter. Okay, that is not found in state law, and I think that that is a harder standard than the hard standard the Board of Adjustment provides. The Board of Adjustment, this will not cause harm to the public or impair the purpose and intent of this chapter, is a harder standard than state law. And the variance is, and I guess what you're asking is why take it out? Well, because the the standard is specified in state law, and it's, and there's like 45 years of case law. Now, I will say, E, any hardship caused by the applicant's own action shall not be considered by the Board of Adjustment. That one is actually found in case law, and I know because I've been there when Mr. Bauer has talked about it. He always points that out. But, so there's not really anything wrong with E other than it takes a couple cases and it doesn't, there's a whole history of cases. So if you're going to start trying to outline all of the case law, we'd go on for a long period of, it would go on for pages and pages. But there's no, in this instance, it's pretty hard to meet the 4 criteria for a variance, and I can find no authority for making it harder. I mean, it's by state statute, and in Board of Adjustment, in some areas, the city can do what they want. If a variance is going to the Board of Adjustment, it's statutory, and this isn't the reading of the statute.
Any other questions? I don't believe this requires a vote, does it? This is our public. Okay, if there are no other comments or any other questions, we will move on to item 2 of administration, which is to discuss the memo on ex officio members of the Metropolitan Area Planning Commission.
Yes.
Back to you.
Yes. This, I have the memo. It actually, as you can tell from my first paragraph, it came up in a roundabout way involving the Public Access Television Advisory Board. And in doing it, I started looking at ex officio memberships, and there are amazingly quite a few different variations of different types of zoning boards, and they provide different rules on voting privileges. But, and I actually think that I probably gave I don't know for sure, but I believe that I probably initially said that ex officio members did not have a vote, and it was based on comparing 2 different types of zoning boards. It made sense at the time, but in reading all of these Attorney General opinions, including the one from 2009, I believe that there isn't a justification to make ex officio members show up and not get to vote and not be part of the quorum. So that's, I know it has been we haven't done it in a long time, but the Oklahoma Attorney General's opinions have the force of law until overruled by the court. I wish it was a tiny bit clearer, but I'm in reading through the 1983, the 2009, and the 4 or 5 different ways that voting is handled. I believe that we should let our county commissioner and our city commissioner vote.
Okay. With that being said, I mean, that would change the way that we do business. Is that something that we would vote on here to see if we want this to be allowed, or is this a legal issue that is going to have to be some paperwork and some documentation done, or I don't know how we would go about amending this? What's your opinion on that, Carol?
Well,
I think it's as simple as the 2 ex officio people get to vote, isn't it?
yeah.
Now, Carol?
Well, we can, I I mean, I would think if you guys have an issue with it, we could go and get a declaratory judgment in district court, but I believe that we should follow the Attorney General opinion, and we might as well start now. Do we have?
So what that means, Commissioner, is we're 11-member board, so a quorum will be 6. Yes.
Okay.
And variances will be 9, right?
Correct.
Which we have difficult getting 7.
Well, we're aware of that.
Okay, I just,
Now, I can say this, the variance being 9 is actually not a state statute requirement. It is a municipal code requirement. So you could suggest a less of a, you could, instead of 3/4, you could go to 2/3. Now, I understand why we did the 3/4 because it's based on variances before, I believe, the Board of Adjustment. But this is a city variance that was created by the Mayor and Board of Commissioners. So you all can make a recommendation to the Mayor and Board of Commissioners, and the Mayor and Board of Commissioners can alter that if they so like on that particular kind of variance. Not all variances, but this particular variance that we are talking about is a creature of city government. Now, that would take, we can't just do that tonight. We would have to pass an ordinance.
Sorry, you can't vote.
But you could, if you wanted, I think it's consistent with the discussing the memo, you could make a recommendation that it be considered, if you'd like. And then we can take it to the Mayor and Board of Commissioners. Or you can ponder it and come up with ideas at a later time. But I think if you...
and I want to make it clear, I'm not opposed to them voting at all. I have no issue with that at all. I like larger boards. But I do think that's an issue that's going to come up sooner than later.
2/3 would reduce it to 8. If the variance went from 3/4 to 2/3, it would reduce it to 8, if my math is right. So that's just a thought. That would get you, let's see, what was your previous one?
7 and
7.
7? Okay, so you'd be 1 up.
My recommendation would be to go with the 9 until it's obvious that it's a problem, and then we'll have the basis to seek relief from the city commission to reduce that number.
I agree with that.
It may not be a problem. It is a higher standard than what we're used to, but we do have 2 more voting members, so we should be good.
Okay.
So that would be my recommendation to you. Let's try it and see where it becomes an issue. We can change it.
Okay. Again, no action needed. We'll just go right on.
That's why I stood up. I thought we
Okay.
Promise I won't be that big of a problem.
Okay, moving on, we have no zoning, we have no use by review. Paragraph 6, plats. Item 1 is to consider making a recommendation to the mayor and board of commissioners for the replat of Oakwood Square, Section 4, Block 2. Chris.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, Commissioners. The current outlined area shows 3 lots. This is known as Oakwood Square, and the owner of the property, David Ritchie, is seeking to replat it. It is his goal to have 4 lots there instead of 3. I'm showing you in this slide that we have water and sewer available to support the replat. If approved, this is how many lots will be there. It is his intention, property is zoned CO commercial. It is his intention to build 4 duplexes, 1 on each lot. It's recommended for approval.
Commissioners, any questions, any issues?
I'll make a motion to approve.
I have a motion to approve.
I'll second.
I have a motion and a second to approve the item 6.1. All those in favor, aye?
Aye.
Those opposed? And that motion carries. Okay. Let's see. Okay, 6.2 is to consider making a recommendation to the mayor and board of commissioners for the replat of Forest Ridge First Edition blocks 1 through 4.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. That slide is in front of you. This development is almost complete. It's being a replat because it started and it has been approved as a plat with public streets. The owner of the property, Forest Ridge LLC, has approached the city and they want to make those private streets. And that is what's in front of us, is the replat for that purpose. They have formed a homeowners association that'll be responsible for street maintenance. And there's the plat that shows them now as access easements. It's recommended for approval.
Any questions or comments?
So they've already formed the homeowners association?
Yes, sir.
Is that the only area that's part of the homeowners association?
Yes. Let me back up and I'll show that to you. The area in yellow, those streets there are the ones that'll be privatized.
Are all of those homes occupied now? Are any of them occupied? Is it all just?
I don't know what the answer to that, sir.
I believe some of them are occupied from being out there, but not all of them are occupied. They're working on leasing them. I do believe they've had most of them leased, and they've got certificates of occupancy for most of them from the city, but I can't say that they do.
Would there be any potential issue that if the platting continues to the west, that may re-interface with city-owned streets?
The only issue is west of there would be, depending on who does it, it may be private or it may be public. We just don't know yet. But yes, you certainly would be crossing this private area here. And that's why we ask on the plat that we have access so the public can be on those. The public's not being restricted here. It's not a gated community. It's just the public will not be responsible for the maintenance of the road. The homeowners in this subdivision will be.
I assume all of those that are occupied, they've been notified of this? Because I'm assuming there's going to be a fee.
They've not been notified by the city because we don't have the responsibility to do that. That'll be the responsibility of the owner LLC.
Yeah, I'm just coming from, if I live there, now I find out that now there's a homeowner association fee and I wasn't notified to come with questions.
Any other questions? Entertain a motion?
Motion to approve?
I have a motion to approve. Thank you.
I'll second it.
I have a motion and a second to approve the replat of Forest Ridge First Edition blocks 1 through 4. All those in favor, aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? And that motion carries. We have no site plans. We have a lot split. Consider a lot split for Tim and Carol Knopps, located at the west of 2819 West Randolph, which is also known as part of the Southeast Quarter, Section 11, Township 22 North, Range 7 west of the Indian Meridian. Chris?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The original lot is shown there. Looks like a horseshoe. My next slide will show you the split, which is right here. So this will be a separate lot, and then this will be the balance of the lot. And when we look at lot splits, we want to make sure we have access to roads. We do, and the case here is we have Randolph. And we want to make sure we have access to water, and we do in Randolph. And the sanitary sewer, this is a drawing here. My engineering map shows it here, but in reality, it's here. We have confirmed that. So I can tell you with great confidence that it has access to sewer. It's recommended for approval. And then my last slide will actually be the survey.
Again, any questions?
So this is going to have the one, the new cutout property, then you've got the house or the building area that's there in the middle, and these are going to be three separate properties that we're looking at?
Right. This is what it is right now, Commissioner. This house is not involved in what we're doing tonight. Knopps own this yellow outlined area that looks like a horseshoe. They're wanting to draw a line right here, which will be split this lot from here. That's what they're doing. So there'll be 1, 2, 3, yes.
Has the owner of that middle property there been notified that they're?
No.
requirement for that? Do
There's no requirement to do that.
we know what they're going to use that new plot for? Is it?
He's going to build a home there. The property is zoned R2 residential, be a single-family home.
Make a motion to approve.
Thank you. I have a motion to approve.
Second.
I have a motion and a second to approve the replat, or excuse me, the lot split for Tim and Carol Knops. All those in favor, aye? Aye. Those opposed? And that motion carries. And as I see, there are no other items other than item 12 to adjourn. Do I have a motion to adjourn? I have a motion to adjourn and a second. All those in favor, aye?
Aye.
Those opposed? We're adjourned.
Thank you.